Okay, so because I'm going to be away on Friday and I'm not going to be able to review Abandon, I actually don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done for next weekend or this coming weekend. I figured I owe you guys a video. So what I'm going to do is talk about my feelings right now on the question that Clark brought up to General Lane, which I think we all know. Spoiler alert or rumor alert, since it's not technically a spoiler. We don't have any official confirmation. Is that Clark probably asked General Lane if he can propose to Lois. Now, you all know, and I'm not saying that you guys don't have your right to be excited about this, because it's Clark and Lois, are a legendary couple, and, there's a lot of Lois fans out there, and, it's like, it's one of those TV, couple relationships that they all want to see take off, and I think that it's definitely upping their game. Smallville is definitely, stepping up to the next level. So from a story angle, yes, it is interesting. The reason I said that it was premature though is because when it comes to Clark and Lois, they've known each other a grand total of probably just over 5 years. If you want to look back, I think she appeared in season 4. Um, but really, like, there is a difference between knowing somebody as a friend, which, keep in mind, they did not start off as, and there is a difference between knowing somebody as a girlfriend, or a lover, a spouse, whatever you want to call them. There's just so much here that really, yes, okay, think of back to season 9. Lois is saying to Clark, when they start this relationship, basically that they, she wants to take it slow with him. And I'm going to point out that if you're lining up the time period that Smallville is currently with Pandora, which is where Clark and Lois, officially started becoming a couple. If that's technically official because she wanted to take it slow. I'd say it's just under or just roughly a year that they've been dating. And yes, Clark has opened up to her. She knows basically everything. But at the same time, you have to look at this from a realistic perspective. And yes, Smallville is not that realistic of a show with aliens and superpowers. But look at this from a realistic perspective. They've dated for a year. 1 year. I have friends who are in serious relationships right now. I have some friends that are married. There's very seldom of them that know this is the person that they want to marry, even after a year. And even if they did, they don't just say, oh, well, now it's time to do it. Nobody in a realistic relationship, and not that I'm the expert on relationships or dating or anything like that, but basically, you want to be able to, have some room to breathe. You don't want to have to move things too quickly. Lois said in season 9 she didn't want things to get too quickly. Okay? So I think that the reason I said premature with this, proposal idea is that, Clark has really just gotten to know the General, just gotten to know Lucy slightly. And yes, they have met each other before, but there's in regards to Clark and Lois, there's a difference between knowing somebody as a person and knowing somebody as something more. It's like if if you want to look at it not if Erica Durance. I know of Erica Durance. Do I know Erica Durance? No. It's almost, you could almost look at it at that kind of context, because really there is knowing of somebody, and yes, there's also knowing somebody, that there's really getting to know someone. And you could argue they've known each other for a year. What else is there to figure out? But, sometimes you have to, I guess you could call it, you have to iron something like this out. They have been dating for a year. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be any troubles coming their way that could divide them. There is stuff that's going to happen in their relationship. And this is something else I want to point out. Because I know that a lot of Lois fans are obviously really, really, really happy with the way this season's been going. And I really hope that they're taking this with a grain of salt. Because, really, this is a TV show. And things don't usually go, even if it's the last season, things usually don't go this well unless there's a big hiccup or a couple of mediocre or even a couple of big hiccups on the way. Sometimes they get it over at the beginning. Sometimes they do it in the middle. Sometimes they do it towards the end. Frankly, I would not be surprised if they did it at the end. Because there is a lot of stuff to Clark and Lois that, like, I'm not somebody who believes like in like a perfect relationship. Like that's like saying there's a marriage out there with somebody that's never had an argument with their spouse. It's unrealistic to think that way. And I'm not saying that Clark and Lois wouldn't argue in a marriage relationship. But what I'm saying is that Smallville has been kind of, it's like they've gotten it's basically Clark and Lois's relationship has suddenly gotten an adrenaline boost. What with them knowing all about each other now. And what I'm saying is that, I think that maybe we need to step back a bit and breathe. Yes, you can have plenty of all this Lois stuff to go around, but it's like, look at how this season started, okay? Look at, what was the name? Lazarus. And look at how far we've come. I don't remember how many episodes it's been. I think it's roughly 7, maybe 8. But in like that time span, their relationship has pretty much skyrocketed. Like, it's insane. And yeah, they were technically dating back in season 9, or by the end of season 9, but it has really gone. It's jumped so many levels that it's practically zero gravity now. It's like astounding at how far this relationship has gone. And what I'm saying is, when you get to marriage, there's really no higher you can go. And, like, I get it that it's the last season, but at the same time, let's not, jump the gun here. I think that there is time that maybe, wait for the very end of the season. I don't know. Just, I'm saying, I am not against Clark and Lois as a couple. I am not against them getting married eventually. I am just saying, please don't, rush into this with the writing, because it can really screw things up, and it can start making us look at Clark and Lois like as an unrealistic couple, and I don't think anybody wants to see that.